Mabuhay! We are the Group 8 and we will talk about the intellectual revolution of the Middle East. But before we talk about that, we will now first talk about the Middle East civilization. The Middle East civilization has a very rich culture and tradition. They also have an enormous contribution to science and technology. Named for its rich soils, the Fertile Crescent, often called the cradle of civilization, is found in the Middle East. Because of these regions' relatively abundant access to water, the earliest civilizations were established in the Fertile Crescent, including the Sumerians. Islamicate scholars are the people who are influenced by Islamic civilization regardless of their religious views. They bring us different terms such as algebra, azimuth, algorithm, and many more. During the time of Abbasid Caliphate from 750 to 1517 AD, the culture flourished, wherein it is served as a crossroad trading zones for Persia, India, Byzantine, and the various religions and many languages also flourished in the civilization. One of the Middle East civilization is the cuneiform. It is their first system in terms of writing. Next of Middle East civilization was the potter's wheel that is invented in Mesopotamia. Also the vehicular and mill wheel. Middle East created the first generalized governments and law codes that create major changes to the countries, and also it is the foundation of astronomy and mathematics. So on the right side, it is the example of the potter's wheel. Before we proceed to the intellectual revolution of the Middle East, let us first talk about the intellectual revolution. The term intellectual revolution is used to refer to Greek speculation about the nature in the period before Socrates. Roughly, it is around 600 to 400 BCE. Hence, the alternative technical terms are pre-Socratic or non-theological or first philosophy. Bear in mind that the philosophy in question has little to do with ethics and much more to do with what we could call physics or logic. And it is the period where paradigm shifts occurred. It is where the scientific beliefs that have been widely embraced and accepted by the people were challenged and opposed. The blended culture by the civilization and various belief systems made the early Islamic science very inclusive. Caliphate al-Mansur was the founder of the first capital of Abbasid, which is Baghdad, that became the largest urban area in 930 AD. He is also the contributor of the famous city house called Bait al-Hikmah, or the House of Wisdom. It is a great library that he opened up to the visiting scholars, even the delegations from other states like India. His successor, Caliphate al-Rashid, carried on this tradition and supported the translation movement. When we say translation movement, it is when they send scholars all over the world and they gather knowledge from Romans, Indians, or to any other country and they will translate it. So it is the photo of the famous city house or the House of Wisdom. Also, we have Caliphate al-Mamun. Caliphate Al-Mamun refounded the House of Wisdom as an international center for translation and research, which eventually became the largest library in the world by 850 AD. He also sent out scholars in different parts of the world that is rich in philosophical principles to bring back useful texts like Greek, Chinese, Sanskrit, Persian, and Syriac that is translated into Arabic. Caliphate Al-Mamun also became enthusiastic in Greek and Persian translation, which eventually leads him to understanding in astronomy that greatly helped them to accurately examine the timekeeping for mosques and time of prayer, not only in astronomy but also in medicine and Greek philosophy.
After Caliphate Al-Mamun, there is more collaboration through other civilizations to gain more collections of knowledge. Ibn Rashid is a 12th century Muslim polymath who made enormous contribution to both Islamic and Christian worlds. He became a passionate student of teachings of Aristotle and began to defend Aristotelian rationality in the face of Islamic conservatism. His translations and commentaries on Aristotle leads him to be called the commentator. Mu'tazila is an Islamic school of speculative theology or the first theologians of Islam. They believe that rationalism can be used to understand physical and spiritual world, the theory of natural law that competed the Christian theology. And in this time, they build a lot of infrastructures as house of knowledge like observatories, hospitals, public libraries, and madrasas. Madrasas is an Islamic college which you can study law, Greek natural philosophy, logic arithmetic, astronomy, and astrology, not only faith, culture, and religion. At the golden age of Islam, it is the debates of stars. It concerned with the link that connected the earth and the night sky and humankind. Abu Mashar studied the stars and their divination power until he became an atheist. Al-Biruni is an astrological fortune-telling. The proper Islamic significance of astronomy was established through fixing the direction and time of daily prayers with mathematical precision. These ancient philosophers attempted to propose the heliocentrism. Heliocentrism is the astronomical model in which the Earth and planets revolve around the Sun at the center of the universe. And at the golden age of Islam, the first telescopes were invented. During this time, Al-Mamun attempted to measure the size of the Earth through measuring the distance between cities and determining their latitude. Muslim scientists and astronomers researched about the circumference of the earth that greatly helped the city of Mecca, especially the necessity of knowing which direction to pray to from various parts of the world. Measuring the circumference of the earth is greatly important to the civilization around the world. It helps to improve their place. Al-Khwarizmi is a Muslim mathematician and astronomer whose major works introduced Hindu-Arabic numerals and the concepts of algebra. Algebra is a compilation of rules, together with demonstration, for finding solutions of linear and quadratic equations by completing the square. In Middle East civilization, astrolabe were invented. It is a scientific instrument used for reckoning time and for observational purposes. It is used to know the exact location and time of the day or night. For now, it is used for navigational purposes. After that, they invented sundial. It's their choice of instrument in regulating the prayer's time. Shadow showed when it was time to perform the midday and afternoon prayers. Trigonometry, which includes sine, cosine, and tangent table. Hydraulic engineering and agricultural science, which lead them in constructing buildings, large dams, water wheels, and underground channels for tap groundwater. And also, Banu Musa brothers wrote the book of Ingenious Devices that contains 100 devices and how to use it. It is the start of programmable machine. In medieval period in Middle East, after tons of wars over the religion and technology found in their land, and during this time Middle East is at its peak in power in terms of advancement in science. It is the start of automated machines. And one of the contributor is Algerius' The Book of Knowledge of Ingenious Mechanical Devices that also contains hundreds of programmable machines and instructions on how to build it. His notable inventions were medieval automatons, a specifically programmable machine for music and households. Next is Abu Bakr al-Razi and his major contribution in medieval field of psychology and ophthalmology. He wrote the book The Virtuous Life, which is a medical encyclopedia, and the Al-Tib al-Nabawi, which is Islamic prophet's medicine mentioned in Quran. And lastly, the best medical book that is the one that Ibn Sina wrote, The Canon of Medicine, which is a collection of knowledge from different philosophers gathered and compiled together. And because of the great contributions of philosophers in Middle East civilization, it became their urban centers of trade and knowledge. They are open to everyone in terms of sharing of knowledge. They contributed a lot in religion, science, and technology up until now. Thank you. Mabuhay!